Greetings, geeks, and welcome to episode 451 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Commander Taco Malda, and joining me today are two of the finest geeks you're ever going to meet. We got Chris Devona.
Hi, everybody.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Things may or may not be working correctly.
Yes, Commander Taco decided to work on his setup over the weekend, so that's always a challenging time.
Well, a few minutes ago, my camera fell off the tripod that it's held down with tape. Oh, and look, it's wiggling. I tried to put it on.
Mine is balanced on a tea bottle, so a Che Java 1 liter tea bottle. So it's sort of a little cockeyed,
classic secure.
And all the rest of it. I have new. So I've got a bunch of these arms. I've got one for the light. I've got one for this microphone, and I'm waiting on the one for the camera.
I need to get another mic stand. I was trying to put it on a tripod, but it's the wrong thread size. This particular camera.
Are you sure you hit the streaming button, Rob?
I am positive. It has a little light
Usually
that says
shows
start
up by
streaming.
now.
What's that?
Okay. Usually it shows up by now.
Yeah. Well, if it doesn't,
I'm
definitely recording, so I can upload it after the fact.
It's happening. It's happening.
It's all happening, man. So let's see.
Aww.
We had the Westworld season finale, which I'm sure really made everybody so happy and just resolved the show cleanly.
I'm sure you watched past the credits, right? So
yeah, there's like two extra bumpers at the end, which I mean,
there's two
they
things.
shouldn't have put those that far back.
Well,
that should have been in the show.
I mean, it was more. It should have been part of the show.
This was actually very much a case
gibberish.
where Kathleen and I were watching the credits, but we weren't watching the credits. We were just talking about how, man, that was a pretty disappointing episode, and that the season just didn't deliver on the promises that we were hoping for. And then it was like, oh well, here's these other two whole scenes that really should have just been part of the show in the first place.
Yeah.
Ah well. I mean, I like where they set things up. I think that they set this show up for a good place for next season. But I don't feel I felt like the first two episodes of the season really started off good, and then I felt like they did the same thing that so many of these shows do, which is 2/3 of the way through their season, they realize that they are out of material, and they pad shows with really bland dialogue and needless action sequences. There was a sequence in the finale yesterday where it was like a 4-minute long sequence of just fighting and stuff, and bits of dialogue scattered throughout the fight. And it's like, you could have literally done that entire scene in 30 seconds. One of you could have punched the other one and just walked away, or just walked away in a huff. And instead, you showed me boring action for 4 minutes. And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of these shows.
I felt that way about the Maeve and Dolores fight. I felt that way about kind of all the fights.
Yep.
In this one, they had a long period of fighting, and then they talked. And they even came to a level of resolution. And then they fought some more. And then they talked. And I'm like, if y'all are not going to kill each other, maybe don't do all the fighting, Or if you are going to kill each other, I don't know what all this talking's about. It's pretty weird. And then the bumper with the Man in Black. And there's spoilers. Whoever is listening or whatever, just
nobody that's watching that cares about Westworld didn't watch the episode and is now watching Geeks in Space. Sorry, Jake and Elon.
Yeah, I mean, really, we don't have any listeners. But seriously, the one with the Man in Black. So he goes to Dubai. So also, can I just talk about magical financing for a second?
Oh yeah.
There is not a world where you just undie, have all of your money and your jet delivered to you in a period of 30 seconds, and then you fly to Dubai.
Yep. Oh, you're back.
This is not a thing.
That's not how money works.
This is not how money works.
It went somewhere.
It's
Somebody
like
has it now.
Dodgeball. It's like the end of Dodgeball, where they're like, "Hey, I took the $100,000 you tried to bribe me with. I turned it into $5 million, and I bought your gym." And I'm like, "No, you didn't. That takes a long time."
Well, and not only that, but in that particular case, their gym was publicly traded. They made a big deal about how. So somehow you arranged for the privatization of this company. That's a multi-year process
to acquire 5% of it, so you could get a board seat. But after a board action, after 4 board meetings, I'm like, no. And And I can guarantee you it didn't get more efficient in the future, right? The robot future of this dumb show. Anyway, so the man in black does magical finance, gets his plane, flies to Dubai, walks up, and somehow the magical finance that allowed him to get all of his money back and all his power back didn't get him a pass to go back into his own damn office, right? And cause issues. And he immediately like smashes. I'm going to smash your little tablet that's going to call the security guard, who's, by the way, already behind him. And like, hey, dude, don't do that. And he turns around and he shoots the security guard in the head. Dead. Like never coming back, right? And it's like, in some ways, that was the worst death of the whole freaking season. You know, it's like, what makes this guy so disposable that you get to just shoot him in the head? You know, was the point of this to drive home that you're a bad man? Because we know he's a bad man, you know? And then he goes downstairs and there's, Charlotte Hale with her broken arm. And I'm like, what, you're wearing it as like a badge of honor? This is stupid. This is so stupid on so many levels.
I like that the bridge too far in the show for you is that he can't clear a personal check, or he doesn't have to wait 24 hours to clear a personal check. I get it though. It's the little things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, during that whole sequence too, we were
filmed mess.
During that whole sequence, like there was a scene where like she like has to argue with Tessa Thompson and then argue with Maeve and then walk a little distance and then argue with Tessa Thompson, and the way that it was shot, I was like, before you get to the end of the episode, you have to encounter all 7 of your evil exes in order to in order to complete the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Really, every movie is Scott Pilgrim for you, Rob.
Well, I mean, Scott Pilgrim is truthfully one of the best movies ever made.
No, it's okay. You know what's funny about Scott Pilgrim? I love everything but Scott Pilgrim. Like, he's the only character I just cannot stand. I
got no problem
with
Scott Pilgrim.
They're awesome.
I got no problem. I think that is like, without the nostalgia factor of like the advantage that a Star Wars or a Ghostbusters or a Godfather has, that to me, Scott Pilgrim falls into the bucket of damn perfect movie.
Okay. Good to know. But we're not talking about a perfect movie. We're talking about an imperfect series.
A very flawed TV series.
On HBO Plus now. Yep. Nexus, whatever.
Yep, the Ocho.
With ridiculous banking regulation.
That was my camera.
Oh no.
No signal. No signal.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, you lost your camera. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I kind of figured that holding it up with a little piece of tape was not really my best strategy, but
I mean, use better tape, like gaffer's tape, duct tape, masking tape, scotch tape,
any number of tapes,
cellulose tape, any number of tapes would serve you well.
Any number of tapes.
Have you considered glue or maybe modeling clay?
Ooh.
You could just set it into that stuff. Yeah.
Why don't you use whatever tape they use to seam people's faces together in Westworld?
Sure.
Probably like an acrylic tape, I mean, you've got like, gallons of cyanoacrylate downstairs. You could use that. Just pour it over it.
1 ounce left, man. I got pens to finish.
What? You only have an ounce of that left? That's not enough.
I know. I'm not going to be able to hold my camera.
Anyways, back to Westworld's odd, HR policies. So... Anyway, and so he goes downstairs and then he kills the guard, right? Then he goes downstairs, then he gets replaced by the robot guy. And it's like, is the robot guy going to have all of his financial powers? It's like, I hate to keep harping on this, but what about the security guard? Like, there's no justice. There's no consequence. I mean, I know that life is really cheap in the Westworld universe. They killed people right and left, but like, this really, I don't know. It really bugged me, and honestly, there's so much posturing and bad writing and bad everything in this show. I don't know if you watch the special scene after the broadcast where they had like Lisa Joy and what's his name,
where they talk about how
Nolan.
great they are.
Yeah, or they're like, well, it's really about the borders between, are humans being more like AI or AI being more like humans? And I'm like, how about bad writing? You know, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Beautifully filmed. Like, man,
Yep.
this thing is filmed like $1 million. The special effects are
I'm
just
sure
fan
more like
freaking
10 or
tastic.
15 million bucks.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's gibberish. It is just nonsense. And I'm like, this is so lame. Anyway, that's all I just yeah.
Hey, but you know what I watched that actually was entertaining?
What did you watch that was entertaining, Rob?
I watched the first episode of Upload, and I think you did too.
I watched the first two. It was great.
It's a charming little show.
It is a charming show. I like it. I mean, I know where it's going. I mean, you can tell where it's going, but so far, so pretty awesome, right?
Yep.
Rosebud?
I haven't had the chance to see it yet,
Oh,
but I
it's
look forward
worth
to
it.
it.
Also, Rob, at some point, you and I should be getting like writer's credits on all of these shows.
That's what I think. I
You
look at that
know,
stuff, I'm like,
so-
hey,
hey.
I wrote about that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It
So,
turns out
Rob,
that almost
basically,
every science fiction premise was basically written in the 50s and 60s, and we've all been just basically
Right.
bit shifting those.
so a little bit, that's
Yeah,
true.
but
But
just
a lot of the things that we've come up with for the game, like all the backstory to justify like the restrictions in the game world and all the rest, like yeah, it is logical. I'm not saying that anyone copied us by any measure, but it's just like, hey, that looks really familiar. So,
right.
maybe it's not plagiarism, but it sure does rhyme. So, yeah.
Well, the other thing with that too is that, especially with a lot of the modern movies that are following the, whatever the save the cat on page 15 sort of story structure, however that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically have like 15 or 20 science fiction premises, and then this very standard homogenized movie structure. And that's a lot of stuff you see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of truth to that. But
No, the
yeah.
the upload thing they're gonna do. They're gonna make fun of the modern pay to play existence. They're gonna
Mhm.
have the guy and the girl. Like, I had a really hard time. The one thing that I felt the show didn't do a very good job of was realistically setting up their relationship ahead of
What,
the events.
Angel and the guy, or Ingrid and the guy?
No, the girlfriend and the guy, or the wife and the guy, not the angel.
The blonde.
So,
Yeah.
so how
Yeah,
similar?
Ingrid. Yeah.
How similar is it to The Good Place? Because looking at it, I kind of looked like it was going to sort of be that, except for commercialism instead of the afterlife.
That seems like a pretty fair assessment at this stage.
Yeah, you're not so wrong. They're related,
Well, and
but
that in this world, in the Good Place world, you essentially don't communicate with the real world anymore, and in this,
Right.
communicating with the real world continues to be your thing. But like
Okay.
the variable that I guess I wasn't exactly clear on the relationship between the male lead and his girlfriend or wife. Like, it seemed like they were like a new couple, uh, which made it really confusing. Like, why would you do this with the new couple, and what's her incentive? What's her motivation? Like, there was a lot of stuff that, and I'm sure they'll expand on it over the next 5 episodes, but I felt like I needed a few more. But they crammed in so much stuff, so much world building went into that first episode. It was pretty impressive masterclass on like setting up the motivations of the angels, and like the structure of the angels, the rules that they seem to operate under. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, there really was. I wasn't as taken aback by the Ingrid and dude relationship. I don't know who the actor is. Robbie Amell from Code 8, and he's Stephen Amell's cousin. From The Arrow.
So he's the one who
Anyway.
knows how to act.
Oh boy, well, we shouldn't go there because I'm not sure he knows how to act. He's good looking and he's fit, but
I always think of Amel more as a wrestler.
Snap.
Roseboom, you were about to say something.
Nope, nothing from me.
Okay.
Well, we should
I don't know where we're going with that.
take a brief moment to celebrate. It's a religious holiday for me today. It's
It is?
May the 4th. So May the 4th be
Oh
with
no,
you
I'm
guys.
sorry. This is like not even a Hallmark holiday. It's like a bad, Disney, comms holiday. I just no, I
It
can't do
was
it.
weird watching it over a decade or so go from like a silly joke that people made to like now it's like an official Star Wars thing. Like Disney is marketing on it, and like they were they had, I don't know, did you see the thing about the hashtag, like tweet with their hashtag, and they had a note that by tweeting with this hashtag you grant permission. It's like a
You
one-click
submit.
wrap license, but specifically for just using their hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually
Yeah, I
really
don't know.
disappointed. I was shocked that Disney did such weak lawyering, by the way. Like, I'm like, could this only have happened during COVID? Like, also, can I ask you, who's the lawyer in Disney who isn't all consumed with the fallout from canceling all the parks, putting off all the productions? So there's one lawyer inside Disney's legal department who's so lame, so weak. They're like, how about you work on terms of services for hashtags? And they put him over in the corner, and then he pulls that.
Well,
And they're like, listen, you're just fired. You're just fired. Just get out. Just
you
get
have
out.
to assume that this is more like the same situation that you have in most of those corporations where the person in charge of the Twitter feed is relatively far removed from the actual echelons of power.
I'm sorry. You're absolutely right about that. But to be clear, some lawyer inside, to be clear, inside
Be
Disney,
clear.
to be clear, he's like, this is my moment. And like, he pushed that stuff out. He's like, I'll see.
Yep.
They'll see. They'll pay attention to me from now on. I'll be put on the parks problem. Yeah, see? Yeah.
Promotion.
Oh my God.
He
Promotion.
tweeted it and immediately updated his LinkedIn profile with it.
Used to be with Disney.
Whoops. Remember that time you were a moron? That was.
That was epic. It was epic how bad that was.
As far as made up May holidays go, I'm more of a May 1st man. Although the lockdown really put a kibosh on that this
Outdoor
year.
fucking day.
Wait. So May 1st, like outdoor effing day. No, I was thinking with May Day, the International Workers Holiday. I thought that Rosemoon was, honoring the international worker. Nope. Different kind of work.
Shout out Jonathan Colton, May 1st.
Right on, Joko.
Unfortunately, everyone's locked inside, so
That's hilarious.
That's no good. Yeah, May's a busy one though, because you got your Mother's Day. I have my wife's birthday. You got May Day. You got Outdoor Fucking Day. You got May the 4th be with you, and you got Memorial Day. It's a rough holiday.
Don't forget Cinco de Mayo tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cinco de Mayo, you racist. There's Memorial Day. You anti-veteran.
I said that one, didn't
There's.
Yeah.
You did? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Way to pay attention, Chris. You get a B. B minus.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry, but at least I wasn't ignoring Mexicans.
In some parts of Michigan, there's tulip time.
Not this
Usually.
year.
Tulip time. Oh.
Not this year.
I was trying
Sad
to. I read an article about it yesterday, but I was trying to remember if this Saturday, like next week Saturday or last Saturday, was the official day, because it's always like it's right around my birthday every year. So
I think it's this Saturday was the official start.
I miss it.
Or was supposed to be.
But you should miss it. I mean, it's a nice little
But
thing.
now there's going to be 10 million tulips that aren't going to have anyone looking at them now.
Oh,
Well,
poor tulips.
Actually, I
my
think there's
question is,
probably
are
more
tulips
than 10 million.
flammable? Because it'd be kind of great if they were flammable, because then you could light one on fire and it would like spread like a crazy fire. Like that, It'd be really cool. It'd be like lighting a bunch of matchsticks on fire.
They are
right.
They are pretty flammable if you put gasoline over them. Other than that, not so much.
Okay.
But to be fair, so are like a lot of things
Anything
like
is
rocks,
flammable,
pebbles, and
if you
small
want it to be.
children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sure,
Small
but they don't have, Rock Day. They have Tulip Time.
It's true.
I think that's pretty insensitive to rock musicians.
Well, Well,
All right,
speaking of mean,
so upload, yes. Westworld, huh?
Yeah.
Anything else that we had to see this weekend?
Well, we have something that we have to watch for this week, which is
Right.
The Road Warrior
Yes.
Mad Max 2 from 1981.
Wait, so the second one. We're not watching the first one.
correct. We're watching The Road Warrior.
Okay, am I going to miss anything? Because it's been a long time since I've seen Mad Max.
I'll probably watch them both.
Oh, to have the time. And
Well,
we're going
the
to do this
good thing
Thursday,
is-
right?
Yeah, let's shoot for Thursday. I've got stuff to do tomorrow.
Okay.
Will take up some time.
That'll give Nate enough time to watch it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the original Mad Max doesn't have a whole lot to do with the Road Warrior. It's the same guy, same car, but the original Mad Max was made for like 20 grand and has very little dystopian elements. It's mostly him fighting a gang.
It reminds me
and then
a lot
the Road
of...
Warrior comes out.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
The Road Warrior comes out and it's just nuts. It is crazy. It sets the bar for the dystopian future sort of movie. And yeah. So anyway.
I've always felt that
Should be
the
fun.
first Mad Max is kind of like... Have you ever seen the Bubbles, the shopping cart guy? The short film?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of
Yeah.
that to Trailer Park Boys. Like, they kind of had...
Yeah.
Like, this is a prototype.
Gotcha. Now, yeah, okay, cool. That's great.
But, I still might watch it
Yeah.
anyway, because...
I was looking up because I kept on thinking of the Master Blaster from Beyond Thunderdome.
Yes.
He was the
Yeah.
big mountain guy, right? So yeah, okay. Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
them
It's hard to care too much, honestly. Like the parts that I had trivia about Beyond Thunderdome, it really falls down to it had what's her name Turner in it, Tina Turner in it, right?
Yep.
As the crazy gal, she was awesome, and that's kind of all I remember. And the racist guy. So yeah.
Oh, you mean
Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Poor guy. You've had a great career, but guess what? All we remember is the fact that you're super racist.
Yeah, super racist and got drunk and called a woman, that thing. So
I mean, they summed it up perfectly in South Park when they're screening
He's
directors for their movie, and he's like, "He's batshit. Say what you will, he's batshit crazy, but the man knows how to make a movie."
yeah, he
That's
does.
absolutely true.
Well, so then you get to this question of separating the artist from the art, and then I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's not that hard, Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem never ever watching a Roman Polanski movie again because he's a terrible, terrible person. Okay, I'm good with that. I can never ever watch another Roman Polanski movie again.
And it's not like he's prolific and is making movies I like to watch to begin with. So,
well, I mean, this is the Woody Allen thing. It's like, I've watched maybe two. I watched like Sleeper and like something else, and I'm not really motivated to go watch anything. I'm not into it. So it's no skin off my back to say I'm not going to watch a Woody Allen movie. It's like, who cares?
I've seen a lot of Woody Allen movies, and I'm fine with them.
Are they worth it?
I mean, some of them are real clever, but you gotta like his style. It's if you don't like, it's like if you're not a Jim Jarmusch fan, you're not gonna like a Jim Jarmusch joint. He's got a
or Wes
shtick.
Anderson.
Wes
He's got a
Anderson,
thing.
yeah. Those folks that have a style that they just have that style and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's see. I had one other thing on my list. No, I didn't. Rob, you shared something right before we started talking.
yeah, I shared. Let me see if I can pull it up quick. So basically, there's 25 universities who are part of a class action lawsuit now. Well, they're being sued by college students who basically their complaint is because they had to finish up their schooling online, they had to miss out on the campus experience, which has devalued the quality of their education overall, and they want a refund now because they didn't have to walk through the quad to get to class or maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but break through the wall of hacky sackers to get into the bio building or something. But yeah, so they want their money back because they didn't get to hang out in a group inside a large building while they were being taught things.
I mean, I guess I don't feel bad for them, but they're right.
I mean, I guess I lived on campus when I went to MSU, and it may have been a little different for me because I went, so it was all the gather. We all had special classes together, so there was a lot of camaraderie that way. But I'm not sure that I would say that really affected the education or exactly what I learned. It certainly flavored the experience and made it interesting, but
I mean,
I
I
don't
guess
know
the
how much
argument can be
value
made that
there
you
is in
can
that.
learn an awful lot of the stuff that you're going to get in college by just watching Khan Academy videos. And for me,
Sure.
I only lived on campus for 2 years, but I mean, like living in the geek house and everything, and hanging out in the computer science lab, that was a huge part of my college experience. And I would go so far as to say the things that I learned in college were for the most part secondary to the experiences that I had while living in college, because the stuff I learned was mostly kind of stupid.
Well, I mean, sure. Uh, I I guess my point is that the important social things that you learn in college aren't necessarily the things that the college itself is giving you. It's the things that you decide to do, or the people
Right.
you've met, and maybe you wouldn't meet them if you weren't, thrown into this giant hall of like-minded people. But I'm not sure you get a refund because you have to spend a few months taking online classes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah.
I
I
mean,
feel you. I agree. These guys, they got the shaft, but I mean, in all fairness, so did pretty much
sure.
everyone on Earth, especially the people that went to the hospital and or died.
Yeah, I mean, also you could complain then, if you have a particularly egregious Professor, I had my chem prof had an old style overhead projector with a crank that would feed the film, and he would write so
Nice.
fast and crank at the same time that there's absolutely no way you could ever write down all the notes.
Would
Uh,
he then hand you
he was just
the
like
little glassine
bounded
scroll afterward? You know?
well, and we complained about it in class all the time. He's like, "That's what the TAs are for. They're to teach you the stuff. I'm just sharing the information."
That's what the
So
TAs are
he
for.
literally, yeah, he literally would just get to class and try to write as many things down as he can as fast as he could, and then was like, "All right, the TAs will help you sort out what I've just taught you or supposed to taught you." Now that is worthy of a refund, in my opinion. Not being able to sit in class with 25 people. I don't know. I can't get worked up about that.
I don't know. I mean, so this has been discussed in the context of fall. If there's not going to be a classroom experience, should they reduce tuition? There's a lot of discussions about this that is reasonable to talk about. I think that a lot of the universities are taking a huge hit, and some of them, like Stanford, I think, has basically said, no, you're going to keep paying and suck it, and
Yeah.
University of Michigan is, they gave a ton of rebates. I think it cost them $500 million to cancel this semester.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot of money, man. Their endowment's not that big. I mean, it's bigger than that, but
They're at Harvard.
it's taken a big hit, right? So like I have a lot of sympathy for folks in the provost office and the planning offices of these universities. This is a real pain in the butt. This is hard.
Well, I guess one thing that just on a practical basis for me anyway is that had I not had internet access in a dorm during my sophomore year, I would have, my life would have taken a completely different path, and
You'd be dead.
probably in a ditch somewhere. Woof woof. And I imagine for many students, there's something like that. That opportunity, that missed connection. For me, it happened to be an Ethernet port and a static IP. But I imagine that for many students, there's a thing that they won't get by just watching video conferences, and that sucks. I feel bad for them, but they should still have to pay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think this class action is going to go nowhere. I think that we're going to see a couple of schools go out of business. We're going to see, frankly, not every teacher is adapting to streaming.
That's true.
They're just not. And so, some students are complaining already. I mean, this is a tough one.
Especially for larger universities, it's not even so much the endowment they get. It's the sports that's going to be canceled, especially around here.
It's going to kill the South.
Around
it's
here,
kill Michigan.
The football not being played, if it gets delayed or canceled in some way, they're going to lose huge amounts of money.
Well, I mean, and the follow-on effects for Ann Arbor, for University of Michigan games not being played. I mean, that's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Our friend that works at the deli, that's going to affect. That's going to be measurable.
Yeah. It's going to be really, really tough.
That was the last thing we had on the list. Anybody got anything else they want to shoot up before we go and do responsible things for the day?
Nope, I have to go be responsible. So.
All right. Gentlemen, this has been episode 451 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I would like to thank Chris DeBona.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
And Rob Roseboom.
Yep, I'll see you guys later.
Stay safe, wash your hands, click all the buttons that make us wealthy and wise. Peace out.